Good morning, everyone. I hope your day started well. It's a beautiful sunny day here on the Central Coast. I hope you're out there enjoying your day, or maybe having a little bit of you time and doing a little bit of crafting. So I wanted to share with you today the technique that I've used to create these cards. Now, if you happen to be on the Central Coast, I'm running this card class from home tomorrow morning, and I still have a couple of positions available if you'd like to come along. So just contact me if you'd like to come along, or if you would like to do this set of cards another day, then we can organise a workshop for you and your friends. Okay, so to create this background, all I've done is just put the inks. Now, these are some of the products that I've used. So I've used the Gears and Textured Dies and Stamps. For the sentiments, I've used the Fabulous Sayings. Now, this was the product of the month for January, but I've got a feeling it's still available. So if you place an order for $125, you can then pick the product of the month. So I'm pretty sure, even though it is February, so there's a paper packet for February, but I think the Fabulous Sayings is still available. So if the products are still available, then they you can still order them. And then they're the stamps, the Gears and Texture stamps that I've used today. Now I'm going to use these bigger stamps because these are great. The layered thought stamps are great stamps to use when you've got backgrounds that you've created, and they're not going to get lost in that background. So that's why I thought the Fabulous Sayings are also really good. So you can see here that you can see this quite clearly. But I thought, I'm going to try these out because I ran a class on the weekend and the ladies used these stamps and they really popped out. Bless you, Matthew. Hey, you're right. So let's start creating. So what you'll need is just a block and a piece of card. Now you can also, if you're not quite sure of the colours that your inks are going to come out as, you could have a little bit of a play. Also, what I find too is that if you've recently inked up your ink pads, it's going to come out darker. So the less ink you've got on your ink pads, the paler it's going to come out. So what you can do is just try it a little bit. And I tend to use, and I haven't put a cloth, have I? A towel. That's all right. We'll be fine without it. So what I do is just tap the block into the ink pad. And then we're going to spritz it with water. So just spritz it. Now, you don't want to spritz it too much because then it will become too wet and your whole card. So if we just tap down, I'm happy with that. And we want to try and avoid this real square. So if I'll just bring it around here. If we now just gently tap down, so just don't press really hard, because when we press hard, that's when we'll get that line going on. Now, I prefer just the tap down. So we can just tap down, just keep tapping down, and that way we get that mottled effect. So again, the waterier it is, and this is something that you can experiment, just experiment on, like this is just the back of old, stuff that I've had. So just keep yourself some of those papers. I'm a big recycler, so I hate seeing a blank side of paper going in the garbage bin. So use it and just see what you want. Now, if we want, I think, what I might do is put the green on and then just see if I want a little bit more blue on there. So again, we might just use the opposite side. So just getting your ink on. and then spritzing it with some water and making it a little bit runny, because I know this is one, and I could just tap down gently to get a lot of that water off, and maybe just a little bit more. And here I'm just going to move this with my finger a little bit so it's not, and then we're just going to gently tap down. And we can keep tapping down and smoosh it across, and that way we get some of this green coming across. So we've got the dotty bits, but then we've got a sort of a more solid piece as well. Now, because that green is so dark and the blue is getting paler, I've lost, oh no, there's still a bit there, but I've lost a fair bit of the blue. So this is where that experimentation comes out. So I'm just going to wipe that off on my scrap paper. I'm going to get a nice bit of blue, because I know this blue is quite pale, and I'm going to hit it with the water again. Okay. And I've made that a little bit wetter, so I'm going to get more solid splodges. So you can see there, I've got more solid splodges on there. So I'm quite happy with that, because I want a bit of white space there so I can see everything else. Now, if I just give that a bit of a flap dry. No, that's too wet. So we'll just dump it down on here. Now, I could dry that off with a heat tool, which would be my ideal, but of course I haven't set the heat tool up here where I'm demonstrating. Now, that ink is Pool Party that I've used, and the other ink is Old Olive. I think Old Olive is one of my favourite inks. So we're going to dry it down on there, give it a little flap dry as well. And yes, I would dry that off with a heat tool normally, but that's okay. Now, we just need to decide which area. Well, it's going to be a bit limited, because I can't, that would fit, but I think it's going to look much nicer if I have it smack bang in the middle there. So I'm going to use my trusty Stampin' Positioner, which I absolutely love. If you'd like to get your hands on one, please contact me and I can give you all the information. Now, I want to put it basically smack bang in the middle. And so I just put my little positioner down, pick it up, and then I can adjust it to make sure it's straight. So I can just use this grid line here just to bring that down a bit, and that now looks straight on my little piece here. So now I'm just going to use some black ink to ink this up. Now, what I've done here is I've actually put, just to show you, I've just put a little bit of cardstock here on my grid paper, just so that I can butt this up against this little piece of card and here, okay? Just so that it's not going to move. I can then put my little magnets down as well, just to make sure I've got it sitting there 100%. Because if I do need to reposition it, I just find this is the best way. Just putting that little bit of card there as a little bit of a bumper. Whoops. This away. Plonk it on the little knobs there and then press straight down. I'll give it a little bit more of a press in the middle there, and it's going to lift up. So you can see that that's standing out quite nicely, but I really want it to be black. So I'm going to ink this up again. Give it a nice inker. And then again, making sure it's in position, slipping it on, making sure it's just sitting there nicely, and then giving it a good firm press down. Now, the reason so I'm happy with that, but let's give it one more. We really want to make this nice and bold. Now, the reason I'm putting the sentiment on it before I start doing all the collage stamping on there is because I want to make sure that the sentiment, which is the most important part, is really standing out. Now I can do all my collage stamping. Yeah, now I'm happy. I'm happy with that. So you can see that's really standing out nicely. Okay, then we can just put that aside and we can do all our collage stamping. Now on the previous cards, I've used the brown, the crumb cake for the little lines here, but I want to try it with the Secret C. So I'm going to use Secret C for this stamping. I'm just going to put some here and put some there. Now, I'm doing what I call collage stamping. I don't know if that's the right word with it, but where you group your stamps. So you're not going to just pop them randomly. Well, it is kind of randomly around the place, but it's with thought. So each stamp that you do is going to be connected to the stamp that you've previously done. Okay. So you can see how I've put that together. Then we're going to add in the little splodges. Now, this is a splodge that could be randomly put around the place. But again, I'm going to try and connect it a little bit to what I've already done. But I think one would look nice there, and one would look nice there. So you can see with these ones, I've just done a couple that are not collected. But I'm kind of thinking that that is enough. But I've also got this quite groovy stamp here that if I want a little bit more of that, if I want a little bit more darkness on, and what I'm going to do is just stamp it off. So use second generation and just see how that looks. Yep, I'm a little bit happy with that. So you've got the dark splodges in there. So I don't want it as dark as the lines, but I just want just a little bit more. Oops, and I did that first generation, but that's all right. And I'm just going to put some there. Okay, so I've just added more splodges. So I'm happy with that. I'll just matte it with a black background. So I just put a little black matte around that. And then I almost think that's enough. But I can then go in and add some die cuts. And these little embellishments that I've used are the Moody Palette. Yep, Moody Palette Glossy Dots. So they come in the 4 different colours. So the white, the balmy, I think it's Pool Party, the Old Olive, and the Secret Sea. So that's just that really beautiful dark blue navy colour. The thing with the dots is too that remember you can use your blends, your alcohol blends to go over the top of these. So you could change your white to yellow. I think I've used a couple of the white to yellow. I've also changed the pale blue to like a more medium blue. So you can see here there's the leftovers of where I've coloured those in. So you can change your dots if you require. So that's just another little handy hint for you. So I hope you've enjoyed that little demonstration. have a play and experiment. And especially, I think this is a great technique to use for male cards or for kids cards, teenage boy cards. I think that would be perfect for. So, and you change your cards to the colors that the person that you're creating for loves. So choose the colors that they love. You might like creating with certain colors, but when you're creating for somebody else, remember to think about, really try and personalize that card for them. Okay. Have a wonderful day. I hope you've enjoyed this. And please, like I said, if you live locally and would like to come along to a class, please let me know. And if you would like any more information on the stamp and positioner, I have posted a couple of videos with a bit more detail about those. You can just scroll back and have a look, or you can check out my YouTube channel on Create with Lucy. Okay, take care, everyone. Happy crafting, and we'll see you soon. Bye.